Hey guys, this is Myleik and this is my podcast. Now and then I'll post something to remind myself and others that I will always believe in myself. I will always bet on myself. A few weeks ago, I got a DM asking what that looked like for me. And so I decided to share that today in this podcast. I told the person that I needed to think about it and that it would surely be too long to write back. So here we are. I don't know if I can pinpoint where this started for me, but if I were a betting person, I'd say I had a lot of confidence as a child in school. I was a kid who learned quickly. I didn't just understand concepts. I understood that people treated you better if you behaved. So I recall being a kid who would just sit still with my hands crossed, a smile, and always having the correct answer, or thinking I did. When I think about self-support, I think of little Myleik finding ways to rely on herself, and that self-reliance getting me in rooms and elevating me in ways I'd never imagined. As I progressed through school, the idea of having an answer versus the right answer began to morph. I knew I didn't have to know everything, but I should always have an answer. And that was a foundation on which I began to support myself. If I didn't have the correct answer, I knew not to beat myself up about it. I knew I could learn. I knew that I could influence how someone accepted my wrong answer by starting with self-belief. So here is a hit list of ways I believe in myself like no other. Number 1, I don't have to know everything. I shouldn't know everything. I won't know everything. Not knowing something is not a sign that I am not smart or something to be embarrassed by. If I don't know, I can learn. If I can't understand, I can write it down and refer back to it. I am human. Number 2, I marvel at the things that make me different. I am in awe of my natural interests. What are some things you naturally do well and don't have to think about, no matter how small? I want you to think about that. Write it down when you get a chance, but I want you to begin to marvel at the things that make you different. Number 3, I know that I have the spirit of a winner. Having the spirit of a winner doesn't mean I will always win everything. And so I can handle a loss because with the spirit of a winner, I will always enter and play to win. When you are confident that you did your very best, win or lose, that's belief in yourself. Number 4, I'm mindful of staying focused on what's important to me. Sometimes we get to looking over in our neighbor's yard and start beating ourselves up about not having things we don't even want. Belief in myself is having confidence that what I have is what I want, and it's also okay to want more for myself. Next, if it exists, if I want it, it's for me. I'm going to say that one again. If it exists, if I want it, it's for me. Getting what I want will likely stretch me. So belief in myself requires expecting and accepting some discomfort. My final one here is, I know I have ultimate belief in myself because I believe in others. Other people are capable and able. You are capable and able. I don't have to bottle up all this belief for myself. I can share it. I had a tricky upbringing. And there would be moments where I felt supported and like people believed in me. And then there were times when I didn't feel supported, or I felt like I would be supported up to a point, or the support stopped when there were no wins. People have a hard time supporting a dream that's in your head that they could never make a reality. I used to say things like, I want to own a business, or I want to write a book. those things seem so out of reach then. So I don't knock anyone for having a hard time supporting my dream. I don't. Those moments taught me that if I wanted support, I'd have to start growing it within myself first. So I planted the seed and I continued to water it. Here are some ways that I water my belief seeds today. The way I water my belief seeds, I've got 4 of them. 1, I stopped being so mean to myself. I used to think that being hard on myself motivated me to achieve and get things done, but it wasn't. That fire was already in me, and I can still get things done by being kind to myself. I water my belief seeds by letting people be mad at me. I used to feel the need to always try to reverse that. I am not good if people are angry at me about something I did. That's what I used to think. Trying to live a life where you never make mistakes or make people mad or disappoint others is draining and restrictive. I'm not out here purposely hurting people. So if I mess up and this is where the train ends, the friendship train, the job train, the client train ends, I accept it. I don't know if you noticed this about me this year, but this is like when I tell you acceptance is my word, you're not feeling me. I did this, I did that, I accept. Because I can't water my self-belief seeds being constantly worried about what I did to you and whether or not you forgive me for being human. I accept. I water my belief seeds with patience. I manage the anxiety that comes along with timing. Waiting is hard, but I can do it. Waiting doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. It means I am not in a rush. I always say that to my son when he's screaming about waiting. He's hilarious. If we're waiting in line somewhere, his big thing is that waiting in line is a scam. It's like, if there are 5 people in front of us, it's like, oh, this is a scam. I'm like, it is not a scam. I am not in a rush. I say that to him, and then I ask if he wants to say it with me, and then we say it. I am not in a rush. I water my seeds of belief because I am not afraid to celebrate myself or pump myself up. I am good at some things and remind myself of this when I can. Some ways I celebrate myself look different than what we're used to seeing. It's not always a purchase or a trip or confetti. Sometimes celebrating myself looks like stopping to take a break because I just ran a long race and I won. Be clear. Sometimes celebration means we're closed while we're out on that parade. So she's not responding to emails and texts. It's a celebration. Sometimes a celebration looks like a $6 bath because I dumped the whole bag of Dr. Teal's Epsom salt in the tub. Sometimes the celebration is personal. As we wind this down, I want to remind you that the journey to self-belief is deeply personal. Believing in ourselves doesn't mean we're immune to doubt or failure. It equips us with the resilience to navigate these challenges. It means acknowledging our limitations while still marveling at our strengths and potential. It's about focusing on what truly matters to us, even when external pressures suggest otherwise. Self-belief is not a solitary act. It extends to our faith in others. By nurturing belief within, we are better positioned to support and believe in those around us, creating this boomerang of empowerment. Remember, self-belief needs to be cultivated over time, you guys. It grows when we are kind to ourselves, patient, and courageous enough to celebrate our achievements, no matter how small. As I share my story and how I continue to nurture this belief, I hope it inspires you to cultivate your own self-belief. Whether you take a moment to acknowledge yourself for a small victory or remind yourself, I am not in a rush, know that every step towards self-belief is a step towards realizing your dreams, even if they seem out of reach. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. This was quick and dirty. Here's to believing in ourselves and betting on that belief every single day. Before we part ways, I have an exciting update for you. My website, mytaughtyou.com or myleak.com, has just been refreshed. Not only will you find all of my podcast episodes there, but I am beginning to add notes that I will be updating with books, people, and articles mentioned in these episodes. So if you are looking to dive deeper or simply want to revisit your favorite episodes, mytaughtyou.com is now your go-to resource. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe. It's the best way to ensure you never miss out on new episodes, new content, insights, and inspiration. Subscribe wherever you love to listen to podcasts.